Good morning. I'm finally going to do a garden tour while I get a veggie box. Got it partly filled up already. While I get the veggie box going, I'm going to walk through the garden and give you guys an update. We've had a lot going on over here in Flicker Hill Homestead, and so I've been really busy, and I'm going to post a mill video also, so check that out if you guys are interested in seeing us make our own lumber. We a little behind on some things, doing well on others, but today is a big production day for us. We had a large harvest yesterday, so I'm gonna continue to harvest today and also walk through. We are coming up mid-August, which means the weather is going to start turning very, very soon here in North Central Mass Zone 5B. Last year, our real first frost was early November, which was very, very late. And our average last frost, according to the Farmer's Almanac, is around end of September usually. So we'll see how the seasons go this time around. It's always different. We've had a lot of really dry and hot days, 90 plus days. And when you get over 85 Fahrenheit, the tomatoes don't ripen as much. So you're gonna see a ton of very green tomatoes on here. The other thing that you're gonna notice is that there's a ton of green tomatoes on here is because we've had to pick the tomatoes at 50% ripe due to the chipmunks. And so like this tomato in the back there, that's one that I will pick today so that the chipmunks don't take bites out of them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to harvest any tomatoes out of this bed. We have hit over 300 pounds of produce harvested, and that doesn't even count the stuff from yesterday. I think we were like 320 or something like that going into yesterday. My brother and I have a little competition. He's got a fruit forest down in southern Florida, and he's got a little tiny plot, but he is a very high producing fruit trees, let's put it that way. So everything from coffee to bananas and coconuts. So a little bit of everything down there. He was at 304, though he is up here in New England visiting, so he probably has jumped up even more at this point. Our onions are doing really well, and we harvested a ton yesterday. And you're going to notice we've harvested a bunch over the last 2 weeks as well. And so there's a lot more open space around the beds. Some of this I've actually already come in and reseeded and planted. So we should have items coming up in the next couple days. And I do need to water, but you can see here. So we're gonna have more and more seeds coming up for our fall plantings. This was the first year that I grew celery from seed, and I did really well. You can really see in here. These plants I have, even though a lot of them got eaten, they did fantastic. Nice thick stalks. I've been harvesting some and using it in cooking. We also will put some in the veggie box today. The sweet potatoes, these two center beds, are two different types, have been doing really well, and I've been folding them back into their bed. They need some water this morning. We have had some of the baby bunnies eating the ends of them that I didn't get the chance to fold back, but I don't think that will really impact them. This is the first year we're growing. We did 15 slips in each of these 8-in-1 Birdies beds. So I'm really excited to harvest those. I really want to. Jay was asking if we could try to steal sweet potatoes like we do the regular potatoes and dig in and see if we can find a tuber just to check it out. So we may experiment with that just because our curiosity gets the best of us. Over here we have some regular potatoes, and this bed didn't fill out as much. So what we did is we came in here and we planted our fall carrots in and around, and this needs water too, these potatoes. So these should hopefully be sprouting in the next couple days. Over here, I got behind on picking off all of the buds on the basil. So if you don't know that, you can pick off the buds right here so that it doesn't go to flower and doesn't focus its energy on going to seed. So you can still come back at this stage and do it. I'm just a little behind. I have used some of these in the bouquets though, which has also been fun. Our poblanos are starting to ripen, which is great. I've got the massive ones still on the plants in here, ripening. So we will dehydrate these and make anchos out of them. The guajillos are finally ripening, so I need to pick these ripe ones today and get those going in the dehydrator also. I love this color Snapdragon. Wish they were a little bit better, but for cut flowers, but at least they're adding color into the bed, and the hummingbirds have been loving them. This 8-in-1 Birdies bed mostly has sweet peppers, and my escamillos are still not ripening. So I'm very excited to try these, and I've got a ton of them on these plants, but nothing is ripening. And I need to come in here and prune some of the leaves off of these. That will get them to have a little bit more sun on the fruit. So in here, there's orange and red picnics as well. There's a couple bells that snuck in here that were extras. And this bed is very loaded with peppers. Here's one. Look at this. This is a red picnic pepper. Absolutely gorgeous, and probably the sweetest bell pepper sweetest pepper I've ever eaten. Jay always he'll eat these like apples. They're incredibly sweet. They might even be sweeter than apples. So he'll be excited for that today. Oh, here we go. There's some more turning in here. Try to get out of the shadow for you guys. More celery. And then we have a couple more guajillos and cayennes in this bed as well. So this 8-in-1, we have about 32 bell pepper plants in. Same design as last year. We love bell peppers, and we talk about them quite a bit. And the plants are very, very healthy again this year, which is great. You can see these nice big, thick stems that can actually hold up in theory, hold up. A couple of them are falling over now, but hold up the bell peppers. We just came in and picked somewhere around 25 pounds in this in the last week and a half. And so a lot of the stuff that's left here is pretty small. That was for a couple different reasons that we were picking that much. And so a lot of it though is about filling our freezer. And as we go, we are pretty close now. I think we have enough picked to finish out what we need in the freezer to not have to buy a single bell pepper again until next season and when we're ready to grow again and they're ripe. So as it is, I think we were doing something around 5 or 6 ounces per package of washed, dried, sliced bell peppers into vacuum seal bags. And then those vacuum seal bags in the freezer are perfect for Jay and I to make a batch of chili or fajitas or steak and cheese with peppers and onions. It's enough peppers for that. So it's a perfect 2-person recipe size packet for what we found. Probably need 26 to 30 bags, because how many times are you going to eat bell peppers per week, and how much bell peppers are you going to eat in that week? And so during the summer we eat a lot of bell peppers because they're here and they're fresh, but in the winter you don't eat as much, but we still eat them at least once a week. And so taking the 6 months of the year that we can't really grow bell peppers and figuring out how much we need to be sustainable. That worked really well last year, so we're going to do the same amounts this year, I believe. And it doesn't take too much space in the freezer. Some of these long ones. This is a 30-inch height Birdies bed. So you can see this is well over that if I was to straighten it. Probably 36 inches. And this one looks even longer. Maybe it's about the same. Yeah, it's about the same. So lots of fun having those. Oh, and my watermelon up here is doing really well. So I need to think about putting a little hammock underneath it as it starts to weigh more. There's a few more watermelon on the trellis that are hidden by the beans as well. And we have this beautiful broccoli. There's also a plant swap item. I've taken out the stalk that's on the side here and need to plant some beets in that space. That gets a really good afternoon sun. And then over here, the wall of tomatoes, which I think is beautiful. So I love doing it, but I don't think I'm going to do it next year. Or maybe I'll do less tomatoes next year on this. But again, it can always change. Look, I really need to pick. These are the Valentines. We harvested most of the onions out of this bed, and I have planted this whole thing with carrots as well. But there's a sunrise bumblebees in here. We've got more Valentine. We've got, which one's this? Oh, clementines here, which is the mini 2-ounce slicers. Hillbilly Tom. Those ones, the heat definitely slowed them down from ripening. Mushroom basket, same thing, although we did pick quite a few. And this one might be one of Jay's new favorite slicers. It's also a plant swap. Torahina cherries. It's another orange sweet cherry option. And then the black strawberry from Baker Creek was another plant swap. These ones are not Jay's favorite, but probably won't grow them again, but they do look gorgeous. And then there's a rose to burn here. So overall though, tunnel is a huge success again this year. I wish I had 3 more of these to play with, because I would do tomatoes on both sides. And so maybe I've been toying with doing beans on half sides as well. Oh, the other thing I should say is we're planting some fall peas we planted in the back here. Granted, this all needs to get watered. to help those grow, but a couple of them have sprouted. So we'll see if we can actually get some late season peas. I've never done that before, so excited to try that. As we walk over here, I'm gonna put the bean around my neck, place to hold it. Thai chilies are ready to pick. So thinking about making some hot sauce today. We'll see how that goes. We've got the gigantium or something like that, I think is the name. These are pretty loaded up. And Jace picked some, we made some chili rellenos. Cayennes, we picked through really well yesterday. I think we have 5 pounds or something like that we picked, and there's still a lot more coming. The beets and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. So I know I overcrowded this, and I think I'm gonna pay for that a little bit. Beets are doing okay as a companion. I was kind of trying that out. The Brussels sprouts are really small still, so hopefully as the weather cools, these will start shooting up. I do need to come in and trim the lower leaves some more. I got broccolis here, still nothing in the centers. I'm afraid that some of these got eaten by the cabbage worms, but I do have a very big broccoli growing right here. Got snapdragons and basil in these whiskey barrels. I've been taking cuttings from these. These are the San Marzanos, and then here's another Torahina cherry. This Torahina the fruit is much bigger than over on the tunnel, which I found interesting. Need to do some trimming. Got a lime green zinnia opening up over here, which I'm excited about. Lots of basil. And the alyssum has just been gorgeous, and I believe it actually has worked and done its companion planting really well this year, having so much of it in this bed. I have not had to pull a single tomato hornworm off of these 50 tomatoes. And the concept is that the alyssum attracts hoverflies. And when they attract hoverflies, that keeps the moths from coming in and laying their eggs. I don't know how true it is, but it seems to be very successful for me here. I have had to pull a couple hornworms off of some of the tunnel and the sweet bell pepper bed. But overall, they haven't actually been as bad this year as previous years. The drip line, we did 8-inch drip line in here. Next year I'll probably do 4 lines. This year we did 3. And I'll probably design this a little bit differently to put more of the onions on the outside wall, not the inside where they're getting shaded a little too much. So here in the garage, we have a bunch of onions that are drying over here that we picked a couple weeks ago, last week. They're doing pretty good. And then you're gonna see a bunch of these fresh onions, and that massive red one in the middle, that's that 1 1/4 pound. I'm going to have Jace pull these up to the porch, and we're gonna try to dry them hanging and see if that works better. So we still need to weigh these as well for the harvest scales. You can see all the serranos that we picked yesterday, more pepperoncinis, jalapenos, 2 ounces, and a bunch of paste and small ones as well. We picked some of the corn. We ate some of the corn, quite a bit of corn, and then We've got a bunch of about 5 pounds each of cayennes and bells in here. So lots of stuff to deal with today. The bell peppers will get frozen today. We're also going to probably make some salsas for canning today. Got to hang up the onions. Got to freeze or can the corn. I don't know what Jay has decided on for that. And eat some corn and pickle. So we'll be doing a bunch of pickling of the sweet peppers as well as the hots, and do some cowboy candy with the jalapenos. So back over in the main veggie garden, for the veggie box, I have 2 heads of garlic. This is, I gotta top this off with a few more small mini tomatoes. This is a combination of 2 ounces and grapes and cherries. I'm gonna add another cucumber. Got a beautiful, beautiful red bell pepper. Gonna add 1 more onion. This one is in the process of drying, so this could actually store if they wanted, or they can use it right away. But I'm gonna grab 1 more onion to add to this box. This will have corn, and I need to grab a bunch of celery in here and a few more things. So we're out here in the garden scale, and we just cleaned up our garlic. They're all dried. It's about 300 heads, although we've eaten and canned and cooked with a bunch of them. 10, 17 and a quarter. Still good harvest. I saw something similar on YouTube once, a couple years ago. I don't remember exactly what it was or who did it. But I thought, since I'm trying to dry my onions, I would try drying them a couple different ways and see what worked best. And I'm in love with this. This is a old fence door that, or fence gate that we had from the previous owners had left. And you just stick the onions through, and where the necks are broken, you just pull them down and they hang. So this is on our kind of farmer's porch, covered farmer's porch here, but they're absolutely beautiful. So we have more that are in the garage drying on the bread totes as well. So we'll see which one works best, but I love the way this looks. This is, from aesthetics purposes, just absolutely gorgeous. I've got my ladder here hanging with a bunch of the dried flowers that we're doing. This is where I had the garlic hanging. You can see the scraps of the garlic there. We just weighed the garlic, and this whole bag here is 17 and a quarter pounds. And then here's an onion that I'm going to bring inside and make pickled red onions with. This one is the 1 1/4 pound onion. And then I have a couple of really small onions I didn't bother hanging. But this is kind of the view from the farmer's porch. You can see the corn down there, the cut flower beds, hoop house, and the raised beds. So Jace just started his salsa. It's got some cayenne, hot peppers in it, and about 7 pounds of tomatoes, I believe.